How do you clean widescreen TVs and get rid of the smudges and the fingerprints and the dust? It's a great question. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, if you're new here, I'm super glad that you joined us. We're here 5 days a week, and we answer your house cleaning questions. If you have not subscribed, today's the day. When you come back to your YouTube app or you come back to your podcast app, we will be here, and we will be easy to find. All right, so on to today's show. We had a house cleaner that called into the show and asked this question.
Hi, Angela. I've always been told that we should never, ever clean someone's flat screen television. But I've come across a lot of smudges that are on television flat screens, and I've used various microfiber towels to get them out. And so far, nothing's been damaged. Do you suggest I continue to do this and even use a cleaning agent? Let me know. Thanks.
So yes. The answer is you can clean your widescreen TVs with a microfiber cloth, but not any microfiber cloth. There are different types of microfiber, and the kind that I want to recommend is an e-cloth. And I'm going to leave links in the show notes to this. And it is a very fine, no-lint microfiber cloth. It's designed for glass and electronics and computer screens and TV screens and that kind of thing. Now, and you can also use them for your eyeglasses as well. All right, so what I recommend is that you keep this cloth and use it for electronics only, right? So we're not going to use this to dust them. We're going to use this to clean them, okay? So it's going to be a clean cloth that's always a clean cloth that's just going to be used with a little bit of pressure to remove the smudges and fingerprints. Now this, I'm going to ask that you use it dry because most computer screens, most television screens have an anti-glare lens. If they're within the last 4 or 5 years, they have an anti-glare lens that is kind of a film. And so we don't want to spray any chemicals. We don't want to get any water, any moisture on those screens. So first we're going to dust the screen. How do you dust it? I also recommend a duster that is exclusive to your electronics. Now this is mine. I will show it to you. I will leave links in the show notes. This has a little cover that goes over the top and you pull the cover down and that exposes the duster part itself, which is an electrostatic duster, which picks up all the dust in the keyboard and then also in the remote controls or on the computer screens. So it's designed specifically for electronics and I love to keep it for that use. Okay, so what I do is I dust the screen first. So it picks up and removes all of the dust. Then with the cloth, I go back over the cloth and I remove any of the fingerprints or any of the smudges that you might find. Now, if you have to remove, let's say some kids got some jelly or something on the TV screen and you have to use some water, I do recommend filtered water. This is distilled water or filtered water, something that comes from a bottle that doesn't have any of the sediment or the chemicals that might be inside your drinking water or your tap water. And so just water, damp water. So you're going to squeeze it out as much as possible so that it's just a damp cloth, maybe even only part of the cloth. Remove the smudge only. Don't go across the whole screen. Now, I have to stop for just a second, and I have to say, since the COVID era, and this is just in the last year, we've asked all professional house cleaners to not touch the electronics, okay? So we're asking homeowners to please clean your own electronics since COVID for this reason. There are lots of things that have happened since COVID, and I'm in a very unique situation where I get to spend all day, every day, talking to homeowners and house cleaners and cleaning business owners, and I've seen a lot of property damage on widescreen TVs, on computer keyboards, on laptops and notepads, and smartphones and remote controls and game controllers. And what's happening is there are people with the intention of disinfecting those areas and they're spraying chemicals on the surfaces of your electronics that are so incredibly expensive. And what's happening is as the chemicals leak into your electronics, it stops them from working properly. And I have seen so many house cleaners that have been spraying like people's laptop keyboards to sanitize them. And what happens is it leaks through and it eats away the ribbons that are underneath the keyboard. And so now the house cleaning company has to replace those laptops. But what's even more important is sometimes you cannot replace the data that was stored on the desktop version itself. If it's in the cloud, then they can re-download that information. But if it's in the desktop version, they've lost that data. And so what we're asking for house cleaners, please Do not touch the electronics, okay? You can dust around them, but let the homeowner clean their own. Now with the duster, and I recommend that you keep this at home, keep it near your electronics. You might want 4 or 5, one in every room for all the different electronics, and keep one of these at your computer. I have a little hook that's right underneath my office desk, and this just sits right on that hook. And then when I feel like my computers, my television, I've got a great big widescreen TV right there in the office, I can go ahead and I can wipe that down and return this right exactly where it came from after I've done my dusting. My cloth stays pretty clean. So I make sure that I don't have anything on my hands or I haven't just eaten any food when I use that cloth because I don't want to transfer that to the cloth. Now I will say that lots of people eat in front of their TV. And so there's popcorn grease or pizza grease or whatever it is on your hands. And so the remote controls can be really nasty. And so if you'll use a Clorox wet wipe on the remote controls, as a homeowner, I'm going to let you do that yourselves. But we're going to ask our house cleaners to stay away from your electronics for this reason. There is so much damage, and when your data goes missing for whatever reason, it's often impossible to replace. And so we don't want to put the house cleaners in that situation where they are unfortunately damaging or erasing your data or damaging your equipment. And I must say that for the most part of our lives, we don't use our computer screens in a way that even requires sanitizing, okay? So I don't even recommend that you use a sanitizer, and please do not use any chemicals on the surface of the screen. We've seen so many computers and so many flat screen TVs where the filament, that's that non-glare, has been eaten away by people trying to sanitize their screens. So let's just clear that up right now, that the homeowner is going to clean their own electronics, that no one is going to spray keyboards with anything, and that you're going to use a duster first and then a dry microfiber cloth. Okay? So that's the process, and that will keep your television screens, your computer screens, your smart screens, and your phones looking spectacular, and it will keep them clean and free from your gunk. All right, so those are how you clean your electronics. I hope this helps. If it does, give us a thumbs up. If you have questions, leave your comments and your notes below. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.